Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I'm TechMan16.
And I'm Strange Kirk.
Today we have a very special guest. He is the number one power destroyed player on Server 34 in Star Trek Fleet Command. It is Chef. Welcome, Chef.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
We're happy you took time to talk to us today. I'm sure Kirk and I appreciate it. So let's just dive right into it, man. And how did you get into Star Trek? Who's your favorite character? What is your favorite show?
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it all got started when I was 19. Well, I was raised on Star Trek. Totally raised on Star Trek. Raised by my grandfather, and it was either most of that Kirk was banging somebody, and Grandpa was cool with that. So, you know, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it gets even,
All right.
huh?
That's a good
Can't make
start.
that shit up. So anyway, at 19, I worked at a video store, and nonstop front of the store was Wrath of Khan. So I can basically write that script word for word every day. Wrath of Khan, all top 3 greatest movies of all time. Because it's a submarine movie, Silent Boat, Run Silent, Run Deep, The Enemy Below. I've always played Risk. I learned how to play uh, uh, chess at the age of 3, poker, Texas Hold'em at the age of 11. My mom was a professional gambler, model, wild child, drug addict. Anyway, long story. So that's that side of the story. I've always been into strategy games. Always. Red Baron, those box games, Red Baron, Rail Baron Tycoon, Myst. I even had Hunt for Red October on a Commodore 64 computer. I've always been into strategy games. And the strategy is, it's not what I'm going to do, it's making you do what I want you to do. Got
And
that?
I think playing Fleet Command, I think you have epitomized doing everything that you want other people to do. So how did you? So besides,
I got
so I'm
stories.
assuming.
I got stories to tell you how I've made people in this game do what I want to do.
Oh, hold on. Before we get there. So I'm assuming Kirk is your favorite character because he's banging all the chicks.
Let me see. Who would be my all-time Star Trek character? Yeah, it's got to be Kirk.
Kirk. And have you watched
So
all of the
Picard was a
series?
better captain, huh?
Have you watched all the series?
I own all the series.
You own all the series. Good Lord. And I'm assuming, do you subscribe to CBS and watch Picard and Discovery?
Oh yeah, don't like it. Getting ready. I watch it more for SWAT than I do Picard because I was raised on SWAT in the '70s.
Okay. Oh, all right. Very cool. Very cool. Are you excited for Lower Decks and the new Seven of Nine kind of series?
Well, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Picard. It just wasn't enough action for me. I just didn't care for it, and I love Picard. Just didn't like the movie. Just didn't like the show. I'd rather watch. The best sci-fi movie. One of the best sci-fis is actually the Dune miniseries you can watch on YouTube from like 20 years ago.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. So anybody's listening, go to YouTube and watch the
The Dune
miniseries.
miniseries. Oh, it's phenomenal. We'll never be able to beat. Oh, it's just phenomenal. Anyway,
Right.
so
Let's,
Star
let's,
Trek. Been a huge
yeah, so
Star
let's,
Trek fan. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was going to ask, how did you find Fleet Command?
I have no idea. I like to play World of Tanks with a buddy of mine. Well, no, I've had 7 surgeries in about 7 years. I'm a career Boeing guy. Used to travel teaching business for Boeing, and I'm also a chef and a caterer on the side. And then I've just had so many medical issues. I've been laying in bed for about 22 months now with a medical condition called syncope. It causes migraines and lightheadedness and faintiness. And yeah, I fainted and cracked my head open. I got high blood pressure. So anything you can do to take your mind off of it. So laying in bed, somehow I just ran across the game, and I was playing online poker and slot machines, and I found the game, and there we go. And so I was basically in this. Oh, I'd be way farther in the game if I hadn't made so many mistakes. And one of the big mistakes I made right off was I didn't even know what events were. Didn't even know what uh, missions were. Or no, I knew what missions were. I didn't know what events were. Yeah, basically I didn't know what events were. And so I missed out on the jellyfish, and I was just blowing shit up. And so here's your number one question: why do I do what I do? And it all goes back to the very beginning. Being a strategist, being a strategist, and there's all kinds of strategies in this game that just blows my mind. People don't do. I play the game similar to Star Wars TIE Fighter game or the Rainbow Six series, which I've all played. But the big one is this is a PvP game. So I play this game just like my buddies and I do. One of them I still play video games with is Age of Empires. It's the exact same game as Age of Empires, except instead of harvesting, berries and wood, you're mining. And in Age of Empires, you get raided. Even the computer raids. If you play against the computer and you're mining, or in Age of Empires you're harvesting, you're getting attacked. The game is it's a PvP war game with alliances. But to me, hitting a miner playing this game is no different than if you're playing a World War II strategy game and they bomb your factories. I've always said it's not the only way you're going to win is to cut off the enemy supply lines. Before we got online, we had a sidebar conversation in the green room.
Right.
I mentioned you cannot win. You cannot win being row. Not in this game because with the format, if you're mining, your enemy mines. Now it's just a matter of who's going to spend the most money.
Right.
Because and a proven fact was we had a gentleman's the most powerful alliance. If you go back, because now there's been a lot of alliances made, but to me, and it still is to me, other than maybe Wars, maybe MRFM, and most isn't there with them because they're with MRFM, but really the most powerful alliance is Nona, period. Hands down, they have the most money, the biggest whales.
Right.
I crushed them, or we crushed them. Dirt did, but it was mainly me. I'd probably say I did 80% of the hitting. It all started when we had a gentleman's agreement. We never even talked to them ever. We didn't hit them. They didn't hit us. I've talked to their admiral many times. I'm really good friends with those guys, just like I am with most guys. Just said, hey, I just told you, if anybody's going to win this game, it's going to be you guys. Okay. This isn't too long a conversation. It's about 2 minutes left. Anyway,
Right.
What ended up happening was using my tactics, one alliance hit me and Joker, base hit us for like 80 times and never cracked us once. And that's my funnest part of the whole game, is getting my base attack. I love my base attack. And I'll get on that later if you remind me. I forget a lot. It's part of my condition. I have Alzheimer's symptoms. Squirrel. So anyway, Nona, I'm used to it. My sister says, just accept it, okay? You have Alzheimer's without the messed up, whatever. Same symptoms as Alzheimer's. So I squirrel a lot. So I've lost a lot of latinum. Oh, damn Klingons. So anyway, what ends up happening is a couple Nona guys came in and hit us and broke up this. We call it the double hit twins. We were just double base hittings and we were just picking them off. So many tact issues in that, but not one cracked. And we were getting hit by huge ships. So that's it. Game on. You hit us. So I hit one of their people, a gal on their team, and she went ape shit. And I said, she's dirty hit, dry hit, da-da-da. Well, first off, there's no such thing as a dry hit. And I'll get on that one, too, if you remind me. Anyway, I tried for an hour to calm her down. I even said, look, you can hit my ships. We don't want a war with Nona. You respect us. We respect you. Maybe somewhere down the line, we'll pair up. She would not get over it. I had 3 or 4 of her officers emailing me because I just started hitting them. I said, fine. I talked to our admiral, and he said, fine, hit them. So I pounded them. And these ships were 5 times bigger than mine. But I know tactics. I know where they are. I've got them bookmarked. I know what time they mine. I play the game 18 to 36 hours a session. I can go 2 days with no sleep and easy. So
wait. Before we get further into it, let me come back here. So, what alliance were you part of at the time when you were having this like little skirmish with this woman from Nona?
Oh, I was with Dirt. I've since left Dirt.
Okay, so
we can squirrel that one later too.
Can you remind who the admiral for Dirt was at the time? That
still is. It's Bane.
Oh, it's Bane. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Continue.
Would never trust them again. Don't trust them, and don't ever make an alliance with them.
So one of the big questions that and we even had that in our little green room sidebar conversation, as you said, why are you so necessary to this server? Why are people like you necessary? Why does every server need someone like you?
Well, first off, I shouldn't be the acute. I should be the obtuse. Because, one, you wouldn't have the game without... If everybody was free to play, there's no game. How's Scopely going to afford to... Scopely is a Forbes 500 company. They're one of the biggest, handheld games. But if every game they put out was just free to play, how can they afford to even have the game? The game is designed the way I play it. I play the game as written on the box. An ROE is a house rule. Hey, if you go to free parking, you don't get the money in the middle. Or everybody throw $50 into the middle when we start the game. Those are house rules. That's not the game written on the box.
Right.
Okay, so it's no different if you're playing Call of Duty, which is a PvP game. Think about it. If you're playing an Alliance and you're on a microphone talking to your buddies, and you're playing a PvP game like Call of Duty, and you go, hey, buddy, can you leave that building? Because I need that med pack. I'll give you 2 minutes to leave. If you said that to an enemy, your own teammates would shoot you. So this thing about, oh, you got 2 minutes to get off this mine, here's my PM, you're an idiot. Because guess what? That guy that you let mine is now going to use that to buy photon torpedoes, which is going to nail your base because you didn't shield longer, and there was a line at the gas station.
So basically, what you're saying is, for lack of better terminology, I'm not the crazy one here. You guys are. I'm playing by the rules that were set forth in the game.
That was a rhetorical question. Another one. Look at the miner Barrett. Look at the miner Barrett and read his attributes to me if you've got the game up.
You're talking about his abilities?
Yep.
All right, let me pull it up while we wait. But I think to your point, Chef, is if you email Scopely while I'm pulling this up, kind of or support, they're not going to care because that's not their game, if you will. So to your point, any PvP game, and Kirk and I had discussions in the past about how Star Trek-like is this game, and it's really not. It's just really a PvP game with Star Trek skins on top.
Bingo. Are you guys familiar with Rev Deuce?
Yeah.
Rev Deuce is a raider just like me. I play the exact same game he plays with just a couple things of his I don't agree with. I got a shrine to Rev. I wish I'd have seen Rev when I first started. Rev plays the game like I do. He says a pirate, I say a raider. It's the same format. Why does Scopely sponsor him? Because he plays the game as written on the box.
Okay, so Barrett, coming back for a sec. Captain Maneuver. Barrett increases the rate of crystal mining by 100%. I'm a tier 2 with him. And when the ship and then the deceptive weakness ability is when the ship becomes attacked while mining, at the beginning of combat, Barrett decreases the opponent's hull health by 15%. Now, side note, that ability does not work. It has been tested by multiple people. It has been reported to Scopely multiple times. That ability does not work. One bit.
Why was it designed though?
Yeah, I think so. So that's what I think I'm interested in hearing. You're talking about why was it designed? Because the game was designed, obviously, with the idea that you're going to be able to be attacked while you're mining.
Bingo. If you're mining in your own faction, you wouldn't get hit. So why have it? Either you're going to be mining outside your own faction, or it's a PvP game.
Right.
Why are there so many officers? If this is only a game where you're supposed to hit defenses bases, you only need about 6 and hostiles. You only need about, depending on your ship, as many, you only need about 6 or 8 officers, really. If that's all this game is about.
Right.
So you have so many officers because there's so many ships because there's so many different enemies with different officer setups as you.
Right. So
you have officers designed to counteract other officers.
What is the obviously, we hear people say the biggest thing is damn chef clearing systems again. And
my point is people will say, total strangers will send me an email going, excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be clearing Sinister anytime soon. And I'm thinking, I'm not a fucking Uber.
So here's the funny thing. here's the funny thing, and I know that people have asked you this. I've seen, I've seen other conversations, not with you, but I know that other people have asked you this. How common is it that someone would vilify you over, Galaxy chat or on a Discord, but privately ask you to clear a system? How often does it happen?
I can even go one better. I'll answer that one. But I vilify daily, ask me to clear a system every 2 to 3 days. Strangers. Now, here's the point I want to make, and you hit on it like a nail on the head. You wouldn't believe how many top 10, 20 alliances, I would probably say out of those top 20 alliances, first off, I have one friend on every team. One guy that's, to me, is like a teammate. And I say, hey, next time I get vilified, just giggle on the inside saying, hey, when Chef hit me, I said hi back instead of fuck you, and I became friends with him. But I will tell you, out of the top 20 alliances, there's at least one officer or close to it that I'm a friend with, that they will say, I don't care about my fucking teammates. Just don't hit me. And I'm like, wow, and this is an officer. and several of them, I saved that screenshot. It's on my phone. And I'm like, wow, the trouble I can cause with this photo.
But the amount of backlash that you get, I mean, what do your PMs look like on a daily basis? How many little red numbers pop up?
Well, lately not a month, because I left dirt a month ago and I haven't hit anybody. Period.
Okay.
I've been hit. I've been tagged.
Okay. And did you do that just to kind of lay low for a while and kind of recuperate, or?
No, I'm just, I've done so much rating that I've gotten good stuff, but I haven't really worked missions and events as well as I should.
Right.
Okay. And so now I've just been focusing on ships, and I've got 2 ships at 1.55 mil.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we've covered why you're necessary. We've covered, why you play the way that you play. What is something that people who don't know you, who just buy into they've never talked to you, they don't know anything about you, and I have something else to touch on later after this, but what is something that you want people to know coming into this game that maybe just started or have been playing for only a little while, and people who aren't, like, for example, someone like me who's in the 30s, low 30s, and people that have already kind of established the way they're going to play? What is something that you want them to know, not only about you, but maybe about the gameplay, something to think about, maybe about strategy?
Sure. Several. I mean, like I said, I love, if there was probably, I can't think of too many other alliances I would be willing to do this for. And most has always been a dirt enemy. And I've always found the most guys some of the coolest on the server, just because they're open-minded. I can explain it, and they go, hey, we don't agree with it, but dude, you're an evil necessity. I'm like, thanks. But like I said, if you play other games like Age of Empires, which is the exact same game, different skins. And I'm not the acute, I'm the obtuse. I mean, rating is part of the game. So I don't know why there's so many free-to-play players, and they're the biggest whiners. The guys that are paying money, they know it. They're used to it. This is what I got to do. But
I think there's a pain point that comes with free to play versus a pay to play, and I think most people that are free to play really don't understand the kind of MMO aspect of microtransactions and necessity that you want to do something worthwhile, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you win this game, I mean, now I'm back. I'm solo. I've got my niece playing with me and teaching her. She's a very low level, but she's learning from all my mistakes. I would be easy 50% farther in this game, easily, if I'd have watched Rev from the get-go and, kept an open mind as far as how to play the game. But the best thing, but like I said, I just think it's, what's me as a person, what take away from me as a person is, if I wasn't be playing this game, I'd be doing 3 things. It was my life for 6-7 years, either doing charity work with the Seahawks or working at Ronald McDonald House, cooking, working, or having a dinner party. That was my life. So always doing charity events, always cooking, always at work. And that was my life.
Well, one of the big things that I do want to touch on this because I've been around this game for over a year, so I've been around since the server was still fairly young, and you know everyone that I've ever talked to, everyone that I've ever spoken to, without exception, I can't think of one that has actually taken the time to speak to you via PM and actually open a dialogue with you and have a conversation, have all said, "Man, he's just a regular guy playing the game how he wants to play." So I
No, I'm
think,
Guy Fieri. I'm Guy Fieri. I've had a dozen people ask me if I'm Guy Fieri. That's why it says Johnny Garlic's. It's his restaurant.
but
I can't make that shit up, dude. I cannot make that shit up.
the point being is that a lot of people, especially younger players, assume that you have to be some monumental asshole to play the game the way you do, and most people don't understand that if they get to take the time to talk to you, which is why we really wanted you on this podcast, is that you're a regular guy like the rest of us. You're a nice guy, and
Thanks, bud.
you just happen to play the game the way that you feel suits best for your gameplay.
Exactly. But you look at it this way. I mean, you take Chancer on Kerr, Grazi on most. I mean, there's guys, or Spearfinger, who's an officer in Dirt, or Toph was an enemy. These are guys that were enemies, and it probably started off with them saying, "F you, you're an asshole," blocked them, or they kept hitting me and I hit them back. They were they were enemies. And two of them, I was asked, "Hey, how do you feel about so-and-so joining Dirt?" I'm like, "Great." Why? Because I put the team first. It's not about my pride or ego. It's team first. Always. So, and then the flip side is, if that's where I get that one friend per team. And it really, it also screws with the team's head. And that's one strategy, is ways to get team interdivisional, upset with each other. Now, are the guys I'm friends? Am I sincerely friends with them? Yeah. Did I go out of my way? No. All they did was email me and became friends. If the result of that is because your teammates are pissed off because they said "fuck you" instead of "hi, chef," and now I hate them, that's not my problem. It's their problem. But that's the thing is, if they kept an open mind and go, "Why did this guy hit me?" Don't say "screw you" or whatever. You might get a conversation out of me, and we might end up being friends. And my friends, I have defended their bases. Grazi knows I will defend his base if need be. So that's just the way it is. It's you just have to play the game knowing you have to make friends and you're always going to have enemies. But the play is to win.
I know I was too low a level, and probably still am too low a level for you to hit me, although I don't know your level at this point in time. But I remember you 33?
20. I can go as low as 23.
Okay, all right. So I'm in your range now, but before I was always curious, why you cleared systems, and so I think we had a conversation at one point. I don't know if it was very memorable.
Wow, that did a lot for my esteem.
Right. Well, I'm trying to elevate you while saying I'm kind of like this low level, whatever person in the background. My question to you is, since you hit a bunch of minors and play PvP more than PvE or ROE or whatever, my question is, do you still mine, or
Yeah.
how do you mine, and do you peacefully mine is my question.
Well, I would tell you if I could only guarantee you guys heard this podcast. There are some tricks. One's very obvious. You can, if you're friends with people, they can hide your miner.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sure.
Okay. All right. I can get, not mentioning any names, but I'm tracking.
I can think of about 4 different strategies I use to mine, but that's just one. But yeah, when you're a raider, you have a target on your back. So plus, I'm also a pay-to-play player. Not as much as I'd like, but that But there's also trick to even buying packs. Okay, here's one strategy. People are like, how'd you get your Sally? Like, Sally and my team's called the Peanuts Gang. And I said it was real simple. I already saved up half the blueprints. The other half of the blueprints I didn't buy buying a pack for like a Saladin pack. What I actually bought was an officer pack.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
And then use those Fed creds to buy the rest of the blueprints, and now I got a bunch of great officers to go with it instead of just upping my salary.
Right.
You know, but I backdoored it, and it was a way cheaper way to go, and I got a lot more G3 out of it, or not G3, but a lot more upping my officers. XP is what I meant.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, and that's something that I've done as well. I did that a while back when I was trying to do dual faction before I finally just started doing one faction at a time. But that's how I ended up getting my Mayflower. I needed some officer stuff, and I said, wait a minute, I don't really need officer credits. I just need some ultra recruit tokens and so forth. But I can get what I think at that point at my level it was like 13.2 thousand, and that'll get me the Mayflower, and I was able to do that. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
Bingo. Now the advice I want to, and second, I want to lovingly, and I mean that with all due respect, I lovingly correct you. You're not a low level. There's always a bigger fish. I can't tell me armadas. I recently I did a 5 mil armada by myself with a 1.5 mil ship, and I almost had it. And if I had a level 23, I'd have nailed it. And I knew I was going to miss it by probably 100,000. That's about what it was. But if I had another ship there, there's always a bigger fish. I'm a low level compared to the guys in Nona. I mean, I'm nothing. So I'm,
Right.
No, don't. That's like I said. You've got to have communication, teamwork, and morale. Any combination of the two won't work without the third. That's how you win the game.
Don't get me wrong. I'm only saying that with respect to you guys because you guys are higher level than me, and the fact that I think the average active player I think on our server now is somewhere in the range of 28 to 30 now. I think everybody leveled up due to the Vidar and the new outlaw event that's going on, where everything is like you have to be a level 28 or 29 to really get the full effect of what you want. So I'm only saying that because I've spent money on the game, but let's just say compared to somebody maybe like you guys or definitely somebody in Nona, I have not nearly spent the amount of money necessary to really truly get the real rich benefit of this kind of PvP game. I mean, I like what I do. I'm busier than ever now with not only this podcast being one of them, but with work and other things going on. So, to your condition, chef, I actually work in the pharmaceutical business, and some of the medications I make are kind of being used for COVID-19 right now. So I'm busier than ever trying to get all that out so people can survive. And gameplay is like, okay, I could just do my dailies and participate in a few raids, and then like I got to split. So that's kind of like my gameplay right now.
Right.
And there's
So
nothing wrong with that. But for my advice for you would be if you're working a lot and want to be involved in the game, and we're going to spend money, I would, $10. I would say get you the one that gets you the most repairs, and then when you're not there, send your ships out. Always have them mining. Always have them running. And if they get blown up, that's what the money for the repairs was for. And just keep them running. Always keep those ships running if you're not around.
You heard it here from Chef. Always keep your ships running.
yeah, always keep him mining. Keep some targets for him. So that
Oh,
that
come
way
on.
he will
That
never
was
be
awesome,
bored.
dude. That is the funniest thing I heard all week. That was fucking amazing. I didn't think of it that way, but like, okay.
So gotcha.
Wow.
So
Wow, there's some bad blood in the room.
oh man. You touched on something earlier, real quick, before we start getting into the wrapping up. I don't want to take too much of anybody's time, but you mentioned
I still didn't answer your one question. What advice would you give to players?
Exactly.
Don't guard your miners.
You're fired.
And I'm coming the guy that's going to hit him. There's always a bigger fish. If I can take out your miner, I can take out your Kumari.
Oh my god! So you mentioned something earlier that I do want to touch on because it goes with the advice you said about when you first started. You didn't know about doing all the events. Do you find that? Well, let me just back up for a second and say this. I've found that it seems like the majority of the uncommon materials that I get, whether it be gas or crystal, comes from completing events and not necessarily refining.
Say that one more time.
So have you found that completing events gets you more gas, ore, and crystal than just refining does?
Well, I'm not a refiner. I'm a paid. I'm a, you know, I'm a pay player.
Right.
I play to win. So I don't. My biggest mistake, and the big mistake people make, is they don't do the events, or they don't focus enough. Events should always come first.
Right. So
and then
that's what I'm saying. So is it important? My thing is how important is it? And it's been important that I've found. How important is it to try to complete the events every day to get the maximum rewards?
Oh, it's top.
Right.
But then,
okay.
But then you got to realize that's why I'm a raider, is because I get more stuff. If I hit you guys, I'm going to do. How do I say this humbly? It's just tactically, and if you talk to all the people I've talked to, they say, if anybody, I'm not Rev Deuce smart as far as officer setups and all that stuff, but when it comes to tactics and prioritizing, I was trained to do that at Boeing. That's what I taught. And strategizing businesses to better get return on net investments and return on net assets. So all I'm saying in this game, to really maximize your efficiency, that's why you get more from PVE items than you will. And there's also a couple other type of hostiles out there that you get maximum value way more than if I was a role player. Way more.
Okay. Anything?
So what kind of rewards do you get from all the PvP that you do?
Right now, I got 170 relocation tokens.
Really? So you can get reload tokens from a lot of PvP?
A lot of PvP and PvE, yes. Do them both.
Okay.
And a lot of XP. It just depends on the level that you're hitting. And you get the G3 rewards. I'm G3, but you're G2. I'm just saying, and you're like, well, how do you know? Because I played games where I played Age of Empires. It's the exact same game. You're harvesting. But guess what? If I don't hit that guy he's harvesting, and about 2 levels from now, he's going to hit me. Because he quit harvesting, he came and attacked me, so I can't do the same to him. Really, think about it. All you are doing by row is you are mining, and your enemy is mining. You're letting him mine. And when your shields are down, he's going to attack your base with those resources you let him mine.
And
plus,
it makes sense.
Plus, really, in the game, there can be only one. So, how do I beat teams like Nona? Individually, I pretty much broke Nona. I hit them 80% of the time. Their officers were asking me at least once every 4 days, please, can we have a nap with you? A non-aggression pact. And I never wanted to begin the war with them to begin with. I offered to hit some of my ships. Let's have peace. Because I knew it wasn't the right time to make an alliance with Nona. So Bane, our admiral, he leaves. I take over as the admiral, co-op it with Joker. Joker's awesome. And I made a peace treaty with Nona. But why did they want a peace treaty with me? Their guns are so big. Because the majority of them play to a row. They're sitting ducks.
So to your point,
if you played like that, like I said, you play like that in Age of Empire or Call of Duty, you're toast. Well, that's why I guess you said I'm so hated, because I don't play it like Farmville. I tell people that, hey, if you don't like me hitting you, if they give me an FU and they say, fuck you, Chef, and I'm like, look, dude, you got shields, go play Farmville.
So, your point, can I listen to another podcast with Inco on it? And Inco, Inco from Nona, the level 50 guy on our server. So he was basically saying, and this kind of feeds into your point really well, that Scopely really designed miners to be really fucking weak. Any combat ship will destroy even the most upgraded G4 miner. If you were to spend the money that several people up on our server spent to get like the Hydra, like the tier 12 Hydra or whatever.
Why do you think they made him so weak?
It's for PvP, as to your style of gameplay.
No, you're missing at one point. You said, first off, it's called root cause analysis. You say why 7 times, you'll get to the actual cause of the problem. So why did Scopely make them so weak? Because they're going to get hit. Why are they going to get hit? Because they're so weak. Now, if you're repeatedly getting your weak ship hit and you're trying to mine, you've only got one other alternative. You got to spend money, a.k.a. Scopely designed it that way.
Boom.
All goes back to money.
Yes, they're not in it for us to have fun.
Those crazy
That's one of my biggest complaints is, why don't they have a reward for whales? Well, they do actually this last Outlaw event, because you had to spend $20 to get the elite column. And it was like, if you didn't spend $20 to get the elite column, you're an idiot. Because it was like $100 worth of rewards.
Yeah,
those
it really
$20
was.
packs are the best. Like
just
with the board pack, $20 get you all the way there. They're awesome. And you agreed, right? The Outlaw pack was great, buddy.
Yeah, the $20. Any time they have those where you have the rewards, it's like, hey, you can play for free and you can get 5 pennies a day, or you can pay $1 and you can get $10 a day.
Exactly.
So it does make sense when you're playing. If it's just a game maybe that you play to kill some time and you akin it, to playing Angry Birds or something, then yeah, sure, don't spend money. But if you're playing to win, you're playing to be dominant, you're playing to level up, I think most of us would agree that you have to spend some sort of moolah to get your way up there.
And that's what I'm saying is there's so many. Let me put it this way. Because of strategy, it was all over the server. Joker and I one night took on 9 alliances with 2 bases. And we went 3 hours, 400 ships, and neither one of us had our bases cracked. Until Trojan Magnum and SNA showed up.
Yeah, that guy's hell, isn't he?
Yeah, and I've talked to him. He's a pilot and he's an arrogant ass.
Oh.
He basically said, you guys need to quit hitting us. Oh, this is a funny story, if we got a minute.
Go ahead.
He said, absolutely. Go right ahead.
You quit. He demanded that I quit hitting them. And I said, what's in it for us? Like, I didn't go to you. That's my big thing. People demand me to quit hitting them all the time. And I'm like, I didn't come to you. I'm fine with it. And he's just like, I'm totally cool. Okay, so he cracks my base. I don't lose nothing except a few ships, but I got relocation tokens coming out my butt because I play PvP and PvE. So, I just don't farm. So anyway, so here's the funny thing. This went on for quite a while. He was stalking me. It was like, dude, get a life. You're hitting my base once, still doesn't make up for the 30 of your SNA guys I hit in the last 2 days. That's why he's pissed. So he spent all this time trying to find me. Well, here's the funny story. I set him up. I let him crack me. And then I went and spent $100 on research. He lost 3 ships.
You're talking about like his mega ships, like his jelly or
5 jelly. He used to crack my base with 1 shot. So in between hits, because he wasn't in the same system, he had to reload. Well, I spent $100 and wrote my research, and he spent 3 ships trying to crack me. He couldn't do it, so he gave up. Those ships are expensive.
Yeah, I think one of the guys told me that one of the guys in my alliance that he actually ended up getting one of the Kelvins. He said, I think it's 250 million tritanium to repair it.
Yeah. So you can see his frustration, him pissed off, and I was laughing ecstatic. And a buddy of mine Joker was watching it. It was I think it was Joker that was watching it, or Hauser. And anyway, they saw it. The fact that, I even said, watch this. The guy that kept hitting me and stalking me, now all of a sudden he can't do it anymore. It was like, oh, you waste. And that's another, that's one of the strategies I play. People think I just clear systems. There's a strategy to everything I do. How long I'm in the system, what people I hit, what people I don't hit. There's all a strategy to it. And one of those strategies is I love guys because they're pissed off at me, waste their ships, just hit my base out of anger. I told you, my goal isn't to destroy your ships. My goal is to slow you down. Period. Slow you down.
So if you can get somebody to spend a bunch of resources repairing ships, and wasting them throwing at your base, then that's another way you can accomplish that.
Or I can hit their ships mining. Or I can hit their ships in an armada. As long as I can slow them down. Because that means more mining, more ships to hit.
Now,
more items for me.
One thing you
That's why Scopely loves you.
One thing you said, Armada. I do have to say, I haven't seen you or very many people from Dirt hit Armadas very much.
I'm not there.
Well, he's on his own now. He's not part of Dirt anymore.
Well, just when you were there, and even now, I don't see, as you said, you're doing your thing right now. You got some stuff going on. You're kind of just building up. And so that being said, even when you were there, I didn't see very many people from Dirt hitting Armadas. Was that a tactic that you guys did often, or was it just something that when it was thought about or brought up?
Well, got to realize there was a point where, due to the screw-ups of the two top officers in Dirt got drove down to 7 people. And then they disappeared, and Joker and I took over and got it back up to the strongest I ever seen Dirt go when we were about 40. And that was about around January, February. And that's when we were probably hitting Armadas the most. And that went on for about 4 months. But I've always been an Armada hit. I'll hit people in swarms. I don't care. If it slows them down and you've pissed me off. Usually if I attack people in swarm, it's usually particular people. Because I know people are trying to make their dailies and I'm not that much of a dick. But I could and I have. But like I said, it's just basically, it's no different than playing Risk. You know, it's a war game. It's PvP. It's not Farmville.
So if I can summarize this kind of our conversation, if there could be like basically a sentence that would be able to sum up most of it, and it's kind of difficult to do that, but if there were a sentence that could sum it up, it would be that you're not doing it because you're being a dick. You're doing it because it's a strategy. There's nothing personal there.
It's a strategy to win the game. Just one of many.
Also strategy. It's also a strategy to piss off people, or at least you. It's amusing when people are pissed off at you to the point where they blow through a stack of resources trying to get at you, and they can't.
Oh, that's the funnest part of the game. Because it's like playing chess. I'm making you do what I want you to do. It's no different than playing poker. I'm just playing poker with ships. It's no different than playing Texas Hold'em.
Right, you're bluffing.
Huh?
You're kind of bluffing until you realize you have the upper hand.
Always. When you get an alliance like Nona that asks for an alliance with us, when you ask Kerr who wants an alliance, you ask SNA that wants. I mean, when you get these, there's a reason why. Because they play row. Your row is your defeat. If you don't like what I'm doing and you're losing resources over it, it's not my strategy. You need to adapt. I don't. I did not sit in a room at the Holiday Inn conference room with every admiral on this server and we all said, let's go row. Those are your rules, not mine. So don't get upset with me because I don't want to play your rules. That's not the way the game was made. It's not the way Scopely makes money. So that's not my problem. But there are ways of working that without being a dick to, hey, take your buddy Grazi. I was an enemy with most, but yet there's a lot of people in most I didn't hit, didn't have to hit. Did I have to defend her? Hell yes. But like I said, Grazi and I have done officer setups with each other. You know, it's called, you've got to pick and choose your battles to win the war.
So to that point, what is your end game with Fleet Command?
To win, or to be a part of the team that does win.
How do you envision that?
The only way you can do that is by strategy. If you're playing it just to like 5 things you're supposed to do, you know, mine, dailies, events, and missions, and you're not going to win. You've got to make alliances. You've got to learn to slow the enemy down. And how do you slow the enemy down without stealing their credit card? You've got to use tactic, whether psychological or through manipulating them to do stupid things, you've got to use strategy and tactics. That's why row is not the way to go. You've got to play it like we do. And it's not just a free-for-all. I just don't hit everybody. There's a lot of alliances I don't hit, and there's a lot of single individual players I target. So, I mean, you've got to play it. And I'm a strategy guy. And I don't just take poker. This is also the movies Run Silent, Run Deep, and The Enemy Below, or Star Trek Balance of Terror, or Wrath of Khan. It's a submarine movie. In submarine movies, it's all about manipulation of, like, officers, for one. You're playing to strategize what works best. When do you know a guy's going to mine a place? How far is it from one system to another system, knowing that, hey, I just flew into this system. The closest next system is 2 minutes away. That means now I can only raid for a minute and a half. Because the moment Chef hits this system and starts raiding, a guy in PEX could say, Chef's here, get over here, come hit him. It's going to take him a minute and a half to get to that system to hit me, or 2 minutes. That means I can only raid for a minute and a half. I look at vectors. I look at times of what time people play. Where alliances are high. How to hit that high through hit and run, or when I'm being attacked, how to hit and run from different vectors. There's strategies in the way I play. And I wouldn't be so feared or even disrespected so much if there was a method to my madness, because I don't have an open checkbook. I just, like even telling you how I got the Intrepid. I calculate everything. But I hope it doesn't sound like hubris, but there is a little bit behind it. But I've learned so much from watching Rev Deuce. That's all I got to say. If I watched Rev Deuce, and I'd still be 50% farther where I am now.
For those of you who don't,
but I also think I've got some strategies Rev Deuce doesn't do, which maybe we can talk about for another day, that I think he could even be better.
So you guys, for those of you who are listening, maybe some newer players or some people who just want to start playing, there's another content creator. His name's Rev Deuce. You could punch it in on YouTube, and he's got some Star Trek Fleet Command, some really good videos out there. So good shout out to him.
But anyway, anytime you guys want me on here to talk strategies or questions, or I'll be more than happy to discuss it. Because like I said,
I think
I got a lot of respect for you guys. I really do.
I think for today, I think we covered everything I want to cover. But I would like if you could talk to Joker and see if he'd like to get on. I'd like to maybe have both of you guys on at the same time if we can figure out how to do that.
That'd be great. Just conference call maybe if it works that way.
Yeah,
I think
we'll figure it out.
Fun. I think it would be fun to hear the stories that the two of you have saved in terms of how you both.
I'm thinking we might end up having to break that one up into a two-parter.
Well, I can tell you how it got started by, the very start of it was just an admiral and a vice admiral that just did whatever they wanted and had no respect for morale, teamwork, or communication. It was just a hierarchy, and that led to anarchy. And Joker and I stuck it through, even when they ran away from their screw-ups. And then they came back and started doing it all over again, even after they swore up and down they wouldn't, they lied. So I'm gone. And I'm just waiting for the Exodus. I'm just sitting back waiting for the third Exodus.
So you mentioned communication. How do you communicate? Is it text chatting game? Do you use Discord? Is it a phone call? How do you do that?
Well, I appreciate you guys for being so diligent and honest and sincere. I hate Discord. I fucking hate Discord. There's just too many freaking tabs. I mean, I've been on Rev's private podcast before, and it was a nightmare. I finally just called. It was just, I hate Discord. I really do. So, yeah, PMs. Give me the little red dash. I'll find you. But like I said, it's, I really appreciate you guys' patience. And I don't mean to be a dick, but I mean, there were months I wouldn't answer people's PMs. I wouldn't do it. Pro or con, never did. And when I joined Dirt, and then after about 6 months being Dirt, not answering and starting to get a reputation, Bane, the Admiral, said, you should start answering them. Well, he wanted me to do that because he knows I can be an obnoxious ass, good or bad. And I can prove it because that's why I play the game. I want to make my alliance Small Winkies Unite. Because I figure if I can laugh about my penis size, you guys can at least laugh about me blowing up your imaginary ship.
Oh my
Why are you getting so upset over imaginary ships? They're just imaginary ships. I got a small penis. We'll call it even. So I started answering people's PMs, and if they are a dick to me, I was a dick back. That's part of the reason why I have such a bad reputation. But it's the flip side. Somebody just says hi or how you doing. Doesn't mean I'm going to not hit your ships anymore because you already got one friend on your team. But we'll laugh and joke, and like I said, like Grazi on most, man, I'll defend his base every day if that's what it takes. And he'll hit my base. If you guys, he's hit me, and we laugh about it because he doesn't just say, "Hey, Chef's still around." I think it's hilarious. I pay to win. Yeah, I do mining and stuff, but I'm paying for my shit. And if Grazi can hit it and we laugh about it, that should tell you how unserious I take this game as far as people getting upset with me. I think it's hilarious. Because it's the guys that I know that are paying are the ones that we oftentimes give a lot more respect to. There's a couple guys that we were enemies. And Metro Miller is one. We were enemies. And just one day we're in Swarm and we just left each other alone, and now we're chatting, and same thing. I defend him every day of the week.
You said that was Metro Miller?
Yeah.
Shout out to Metro Miller and most.
Yeah. No, I was chatting with him today. I think it was there yesterday. But that's one of the guys. We went after each other. It was just nonstop. I probably had him blocked from chat probably at one point, or vice versa. Yeah, I'm sure people have blocked me before. But small winkies unite. Anyway, so bottom line is, I don't take it that. If you're going to get that upset over imaginary ships, I can make fun of myself too, because you guys, you're just playing a game. You're just playing a game. I had somebody. Oh, I got the whole server defending me when somebody said, "I wish I got COVID."
Ouch. Yeah, that takes it a little bit too real. And to your point, this is a game. It should be about getting away from reality, enjoying the lore of Star Trek. There's not much of it in here in Fleet Command, but enjoying the game, lowering your blood pressure. And I know Kirk and I have said this before. If this game increases your blood pressure, it's time to play a different game.
Well, no, and I told you I have pretty much one core friend on every alliance, and I've told them, hey, I have this medical condition. If I accidentally hit you, just send me a nice note. You can hit 2 or 3 of my ships if you need the points, or I'll clear a system for you, or I'll I'll do a hit for you on a jerk. I value friends, and I could just go on and keep hitting them. They're not defending me. I'm doing it just for the camaraderie. And the fact I know it's a game, that's basically why I do it. I've met some really, really nice people. Like I said, Metro's one, Grazi's one, Chancer's another, and Kerr. There's some really cool people. But they know it's just a game. But the thing I'm saying is, you're not going to win playing row. You will not. One, because there's people like me there's people like me and Joker that are going to eat your row up for dinner, and then there's bigger ships. And then you take somebody who's good at the strategy and combine it with a bunch of people with big ships. You're really in trouble if you think you're going to win playing row. We are going to eat your miners all day. Eventually, you're going to quit or you're going to spend money. When you start spending money, we've already spent it first. You're still dead.
Can you have fun playing row?
I'd say, why not play farm building? You don't have to worry about people like me. Now, why would I say that? When you're my plasma donate center and I'm Dracula? Okay? And it's nighttime every day.
And for those of you who are listening right now that don't know, because we don't want this we're not just trying to target a particular server. So if you're from a different server and you're not familiar, The alliances that Techman and I play on are ROE based. So just so you don't think we're just trying to promote an agenda, we're inviting people on with a differing opinion and trying to find out why they do what they do. So just a side note.
Yeah, but the side note, but here's the other part. You could be a role player. Chancer and Kerr is one. You could be a role player. You got nothing to worry about because I'm not hitting you. And if you compared my numbers with dirt numbers, I pretty much had about I think between 60 and 70%. All the power destroyed was me. And
so you are the number one power destroyed player on the server.
Yeah, and now I think there's one guy. Except when I get to 100 million, I'm thinking about going back to rating because I can usually average about 8 million power destroyed if I really focus all day. The most I've ever done power destroyed is 13 million in one day.
That's just clearing systems?
That's just hitting. See, that's it. I don't always clear people. People think they're understanding. Clearing a system to me is not wiping everybody out. Clearing a system means taking out the targets I want to take out and getting out of there before I can get hit from somebody coming in from another system. To me, that's
so.
clearing.
How do you find targets that you want to get at?
It's either individual based or alliance based.
What triggers that process that I want to go after this?
Usually started with a fuck you and a PM after I hit him one time.
and the alliance?
And then they get their buddy to hit me. Okay, that's two of you. You're now an enemy. Click. And then, seriously, there have been alliances that I have left alone, and because of one player being a dick, now their whole alliance is going, please will you make a non-attack agreement with me? Just because of one or two players per alliance were dicks to me. Otherwise, I leave people alone. I have them. There's a lot of people that are neutral to me. I'd probably say, there's probably only, I can think of maybe 6. COG being the number 1, MRFM being 2, and Dirt being 3. Well, not Dirt, just the top 2 guys. 2 top guys in charge. But really, I can only think about 6 alliances that'd really be real enemies. So, if most wasn't with MRFM, I'd be allies with most. I don't hit most anyway, so they're basically the same thing.
So interesting to me is Strange Kirk and I were both at wars at one point in time before we left. I don't know. And I don't know if Kirk was there when the alliance was made with Wars. There was a real schism within Wars, whether they wanted to be in an alliance with you or they want out because of you. And I know that at times in general chat, there's enough, chef bashing, dirt bashing, to which I even defended. I'm like, guys, if it wasn't for them, who would you hate?
I know. That's how I remember you.
Oh shit, I'm memorable. Holy fuck.
I remember that. I told you I have a problem with memory. It's short-term memory, not long-term.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, so...
I thought it was super cool. I appreciated it.
You know what? We all have to make our fun in the game, and people take this game way too seriously. So it's just something that is fun because if you're not around and Blue's not around and PYRT's not around and the rest of Dirt isn't around, what the fuck are we doing? There would be nothing. There would be like zero action in the entire game whatsoever.
It would be a mining game.
Well,
right.
I'm giving away, but I figure people are going to hear this. They're going to know anyway. But basically, other than MRFM, I have not been hit in a month by pretty much anybody. Maybe 3 or 4 scragglers, just so they have their bragging rights. People left me alone. But, yeah, my name changed. But all you got to do is look at Power Destroyed. There's not a lot of not a lot of level 33s flying around with big ships.
Right.
They're just
exactly.
So the thing is it's you take me out of the if you take me out of the equation, that's what's going on right now. It's just a Farmville game because I mean, you guys might be getting hit by dirt, but it's not when Joker and I are together. If the Admiral and the Vice Admiral weren't dirt anymore, you guys probably would not be wanting to talk to me. Because I know probably dirt would be hitting most a lot more, and then I'd have to defend my teammates. I wouldn't, but I've got to defend my teammates.
Well, I've always been interested in it because for one, you are the number one raider in the server. There's no one else that can claim that. I've heard other people try to use some sort of technicality it doesn't matter. You look at the scoreboard, and you are number one by over 100 million, I think.
Yeah, it's been like, I think at one point I was like at 220 million over the next guy, something like that.
Yeah, and you're at 100 million. I think the only person that even comes close is from MRFM. But so I've always been interested in talking to you just to find out why you play the way you play and your idea behind it, which that was answered for me today quite well. And I am looking forward to coming up with some more stuff, especially when you and Joker get on, and we can really come up with some good questions. And I'd love to let you guys take it away and hear some stories. So, but for today, I've pretty much had all my questions answered. Tech, do you have anything else?
No, but I do want to run through some numbers just for everybody who's listening at this current moment in time. Chef here is number one power destroyed at 469.6 million. The next guy on the list is Grand Admiral Key for the Terran Empire with 354.8 million. You're looking at a 145 million power destroyed power gap. And then the next guy is from MRFM Dogs of War at 215. Then you got Space Ghost from Known at 165.
Just one thing I want to make clear is I haven't even hit another player for going on 6 weeks. Period. I have not hit another player, and I've been hit several times. That's how low profile I am. And I will tell you, I am within days, if not hours, because like I said, I call my ships the Peanuts gang. You got, Sally, Linus, Lucy, Woodstock, and Peppermint Patty, and my base is Snoopy's Doghouse. Well, the mess hall's about to be open, and here comes Sally and Linus. So,
and don't forget to put the footballs out so he can flatten them.
You got it. Oh, by the way, the word for today is vilified because it's about to happen.
Well, so by the time this podcast gets released, you guys are going to be jumping up and down cussing already because Chef is going to be ripping through your ships. So we would say be careful, but by the time this podcast drops, it will already be going on. So sorry.
And don't forget to leave your ships out so that Chef can destroy them. He needs the power destroyed.
Always be mining something and never pay attention. And don't guard them.
And anytime, and like I said, if you're as cool as these guys are, I'll clear a system for you.
Jeff, we really appreciate you coming on. I hope you come back soon with Joker and we can have some more laughs together. Will you be on
You
again?
got it, my brother.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. This has been Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I'm TechMan16.
I'm Strange Kirk.
We'll see you guys next time.